Hey everyone, and welcome back to Weather with Ryan. For those of you new to the channel, welcome. I provide weekly content on anything and everything pertaining to the weather and the Earth's atmosphere. We're just starting out, so if you have any interest in this sort of thing, consider subscribing to the channel. Have you ever wondered why we have seasons? Why some months of the year have snow-covered forests, and other months those same forests showcased a beautiful display of vibrant colors? Or perhaps why fall is cool and colorful, and the summers are sunny and warm? If so, hopefully I can shed some light on this topic, as well as discuss when these seasons are. To begin, let's define the seasons, which might be a bit more complicated than you had imagined when you clicked on this video. Have you ever been sipping your morning coffee and the weather person on TV says something like, "Today is the start of meteorological winter"? Or maybe, "Today is the official start of winter"? Well, what does this mean? Why are they different? Well, as it turns out, there are two ways to define the seasons. There are meteorological seasons, as well as astronomical seasons. We'll start with the meteorological seasons, since these are more straightforward in my opinion, but this could be slightly biased by my meteorological background. The meteorological seasons are each 3 months long. Since we have 4 seasons and 12 months in a year, we divide 12 months by 4 seasons and are left with each being 3 months long. We then assign a name to each of these blocks. We define the winter as the coldest months, which are December, January, and February for the Northern Hemisphere, and June, July, and August for the Southern Hemisphere. Later in the video, we'll see why the seasons are reversed in the Southern Hemisphere. We then define summer as the 3 warmest months of the year, which are June, July, and August for the Northern Hemisphere, and December, January, and February for the Southern Hemisphere. Fall and spring are known as our transition seasons, and they are a bridge between the coldest and the warmest months. The seasons that bridge us from cold to warm is the spring, which occurs in March, April, and May, and that leaves us with the fall, the season that bridges us from the warm to cold season in September, October, and November. Therefore, if you're listening to the TV weather person on December 1st while drinking your morning coffee, you might hear them say, "Today is the start of the meteorological winter." The astronomical seasons are also each 3 months long, but they are not based on the temperature. Instead, they are based on the solstices and the equinoxes, which are worth a video in and of themselves in the future. Therefore, the seasons break down as follows for the Northern Hemisphere. The winter is from December 21st to March 20th, or the winter solstice to the spring equinox. Spring is from March 20th to June 21st, or the spring equinox to the summer solstice. Summer begins on June 21st, the summer solstice, and ends on September 22nd, the fall equinox. And finally, the fall falls between the fall equinox and the winter solstice, so September 22nd to December 21st. Therefore, if you find yourself once again listening to the morning weather person on TV December 21st and hear, "Today is the official start of winter," you know they mean the astronomical start to winter and not the meteorological start to winter. We're now a generous way through the video, and I still haven't answered the question you all came here for. Why do we have seasons? Now that we know when they are, we can learn why we have them and why they are reversed in the Southern Hemisphere. It turns out that the reason we have the seasons is because Earth is tilted on its axis. And for those who want to impress your friends, we're tilted at an angle of 23.5 degrees. So why is this important? As the Earth revolves around the Sun over the course of a year, the hemisphere that is tilted towards the Sun changes. The hemisphere that is pointed towards the Sun is the summer hemisphere because it receives more energy from the Sun, while the hemisphere that is pointed away from the Sun is the winter hemisphere since it receives less energy. When neither hemisphere is pointed toward the Sun, we have either the spring or the fall season. Looking at this crudely drawn figure I put together using my finest PowerPoint skills, we see that on December 21st, or the first day of astronomical winter in the Northern Hemisphere, the Northern Hemisphere is pointed away from the Sun, while the Southern Hemisphere is pointed toward the Sun. We now see why the seasons are reversed between the two hemispheres. Looking at the summer season, we see that the northern hemisphere is now tilted toward the sun and the southern hemisphere is tilted away. As a result, we're receiving more energy from the sun and we have warmer temperatures throughout the summer months. You can actually try this at home. You'll need a pencil and some object as your sun. Take the sun and place it in front of you. Then take a pencil with the eraser end up and the point down and tilt it to the left while holding it to the left of your sun, just as in the figure. The eraser will be the northern hemisphere and the point will be the southern hemisphere. As you rotate this around your object that you picked to be the sun, watch how the hemisphere tilted toward the sun changes. And this little example that you are rotating with your pencil and your object as a sun, is just like how the Earth revolves around the sun, and is exactly why we have the seasons as we know them. With that, we have finally answered the question, why do we have seasons? Do you have a favorite season? If so, let me know in the comments. If you learned something from this video, or found it entertaining, consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. And until next time, keep looking at the sky.